Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we will be creating a portfolio that we can add to our resume as a data analyst. In this video, we'll be using Jupyter Notebook, Python, SQL, as well as Excel to create this portfolio. Without further ado, let's get started. Now we want to open up our Jupyter Notebook. Now let's launch our Jupyter Notebook. Our Jupyter Notebook is up and running. What you want to do is import the libraries that you'll be needing. So in our case, we will need the numpys and pandas. So import pandas as PD, import numpy as MP. Let's enter that. Now, the next thing you want to do now is let's read our CSV file. So to read our CSV file, we need to give our file a name. So let's name it data. So data equal to, so to import our file, the library we will be using is the pandas, and we've shortened our pandas to PD. PD dot read underscore CSV to brackets in code. Now let's paste in our path. I'll go to download. Let me just click on this, click on Alt, come to copy. If you are using Windows, you probably have the path at the top of the folder. Now copy the path. Now let's go back. Paste. Oh, obviously our file here is still an Excel file. XLC is still an Excel file. Now let's convert our file to a CSV file. Let's go back to download. Let's open this. Okay, what we want to do next is click on File, Save As. Instead of .xlx, let's choose CSV. Click on CSV, then save. You can now close this. Now copy the path again. Copy. Now let's go back. Let's paste it again. Now let's enter or run. Okay. Now let's click data. Now let's run. Now we have successfully import our CSV file into our Jupyter notebook. What we want to do now is to clean our dataset. Now, from the look of things, it's obvious that we have a dataset with 82 rows and 26 columns, and this dataset has no headers or headings. So let's add headings to our dataset. We can just type out the headings that we want. Now we can just type out what we want to be in each headings of each columns. Now, since we have 26 columns, that means we will need in 26 headers, 26 titles. So I have this here. Now let's make this our headers. This into bracket. This into bracket. Let me just title. Okay, just title. Right. Now let me write the code to make title this title to insert this into our headers. Data dot columns equal to title. Now let me run data. Now as you can see, now data set now has headers. Now symbol. Now you can see it's actually different from what we have here. Now compared to what we now have here. Now what we want to do next is just have more insight, explore our data, just to have an idea of what we are working with. So let's just data dot describe. This is going to give us an idea of what the dataset entails. Now look at count. Count, we have 82. For symbol column, 82 columns are actually as data, and for width, height, these ones are just 81, which means one field is actually missing, does not have data. This is mean. Mean is this is mean, the average of the sum of a whole data set. You have the standard deviation, we have the mean, the minimum, you have 25%, you have 50% and maximum. So this just gives us an overall idea of what the data set is saying. Now let's try this data.info. Data.info. Now the class is Panda Core, 82 entries, data column is 26. So we already know all this. Now 82 non-null is telling us that as for this we have 82 field that is filled with items, and this one is 81, so one is missing. But as for this, the type we have the integer, we have the object, we have float. You know what a float is? A decimal. Object is, now you know what object is? Words, integer, figures. And the memory usage is 16.8 kilobytes. 60.8 kilobytes. What we want to do next is, now we want to clean our data. What we have here now, we have question mark, question mark, question mark. Now this is a missing data. When you have a missing data, what you want to do is either you delete this, is either you delete that set of data if it actually has no effect on the whole data set. For example, normalized losses is actually missing. But if I scroll to the end side, price is not missing. Now, out of the all variables we have here, price is the cogent one, the most important one here. Since price is not missing, So we can just come back here and replace our missing value with the average, with the mean, or the sum total of this column. Let's first replace our question mark with none, with something like this, not an integer. So let's try that. Data dot replace into bracket. What are we replacing? We want to replace question mark with what? With not an integer. So not an integer, not an integer is actually an integer. So MP, which is a number, is a function for integer. So we're going to write MP dot ANAL comma in place equal to true. So we are replacing this with this one. So in place true equal to true means why we are writing this function in place is equal to true is that after we run this, there is no reason for our data set to change to question mark again. It is going to stay constantly like that. So this is going to be what's going to be in our field. So let's run that. Data. Now you can see we have none, none, none. Changing it from question mark to none is going to make it easier for us to change none into integer because they are the same type. Now let's look for all missing values now. Now go to the data dot is null dot sum. Now let's run that. For symbol, we don't have any missing value. For none, say we have 22 missing values. For door, we only have 2. For this, we have 1. For both, we have 5. This one, we have 4. Now, what we want to do next is the nulls that we have. For normal losses, we have 22. Let's start with normal losses. We are going to find the mean for normal losses and then replace the mean with the missing value. So it's going to be data into bracket num losses. Let me just copy that. Paste here. Dot as type float. We are changing that to float. Dot mean into bracket axis equal to 0. Now let's save this. Let's save it to mean underscore num. Now let's run this. Now our mean value for num losses is 128.3. 128.53. Now let's replace this with our not an integer. Now we've done this before. We've done the replace value before. So I can just copy this. Now data dot replace. What are we replacing? We are replacing. Now we are replacing. Now we are replacing not an integer with what? With mean underscore num. And data dot replace into bracket numpy comma num mean comma in place equal to 3. Now let's run this. B. Now let's data Now, can you see we now have 128.533, 128.533. Now, for this, we are done. We can just do the same thing for the rest of the missing values. Now, if I copy this to check missing values now, I'll bet you that this 22 will now turn to 0. Now, as I said earlier, we now have 0 there. So let's just do the same thing for okay. Oh, 00. Why do you have 00? Okay, I made a mistake here. Now you see, I ran data dot replace. The mistake I made was that it shouldn't be data dot replace, it should be data into bracket of this. This is what we are working with. This is the column we are working with. Copy, Ctrl C, V, Ctrl V. Okay, data num losses dot replace is. So let me just run everything again from here. Okay. So let me see this again. Now you can now see you now have doors 2. Now let's work on the door 2. Now what do we have for door? Door we have 2, 4. Now the procedure for this one will be different. Why? Because this data here is not a float, neither it is an integer. It is an object. So we have to handle it as an object. And as for object, as for object, if you have a missing value for an object, you have to replace it with the most occurrent one. Now let's find what we have under this column and which of these occur the most, and which of the data under doors occur the most. So for door, we have data. Now we are working on door, right? Into brackets. Doors, right? That's the column we are working on. DRS dot. We want to know the highest occurrence in that column. Dot value count. Value count. Okay, oops. Okay, let me see. Okay, counts. Let me run that again. Now, from the look of things, 2 is the highest occurrence. Now, we need to replace the missing value with the word 2. So, let's just copy that replace from syntax. I'll just copy this. Does replace this with what? With 2, with 2, which is an object. TWO. Now let's run that. Data. Now let me just run this again. So just to check if does is now 0. Now see does 0. So we are going to do the same thing to the rest too. So don't let me take much of your time. Let me just okay. Let me just for width. Let me see what we have on width. Okay, width. Width is actually a float. So let's run this now. Oh, okay. Width is actually a float, so we know what to do, right? Let's find the mean of this. The mean of the width. Then we can now replace the none with the mean. So let's do that again. I'll just copy the syntax. Let me change the name for this. So let's run this. It's 66. So now let me replace it. Copy. Okay, what do you have here? Okay. So when you have errors like this, you actually don't need to be scared. Just need to look through. Now, for example, here, what I have here is see data width. I don't add the D. This is an error in my typing. So I just need to add D to this. Then let me run it again. Now you can see. So if I run this here now, I want to believe that boom, we have 0 for that too. Now we have 0. So let me just run through the rest like that. Now for the inside, it is okay. Now for the inside, it's from what is okay. Now what we do now? Let's analyze count value. Let's value. Let's go count. Okay. OHC is high 4 points there. So let's increase it. Listen to this. Okay. Let's listen to it. Okay. Let's level. So we can see that's point. Okay. Thank you for guys. Thank you for that. Let me do that. Go to the bottom. Let me vote. Value. That's the point. Okay. Okay. What's actually an empty? What's actually that? So we find the mean of this not. Now we find the mean of this not counting. So let's do this. So this is Now what we have left now is price. You can't, and I believe very strongly that you shouldn't replace price with the mean of the total of wherever it's there. No, I mean the most important variable. You actually the important variable of all, you actually don't need to replace them with the average mean of that set. All you need to do is either you go back to your data and check for what should be inside that exact field, or you delete it. It's either of it. It's either you delete it or you find the appropriate figure that should be there. Now that we don't have what is expected to be there, so we can as well drop the missing rows in price. Now let's write a syntax for that. Data dot drop. Now what are we dropping? We are dropping non-integer NA drop now. Now we're not dropping everything, we just want to drop only 4 out of the part of it. So we are going to use subset. Subset equal to, what are we dropping? What column? Price, right? Price, comma, axis is what? Equal to 0, 0, comma, and place. You know what in place means by now. It is equal to so your t should be capital letter. Now let's run that. So B now, let's run data again. Now what we have here now, we have 78 rows. What do we have before here? Let's go back and check. We have 82 here. Now if we minus 82 from 82 minus 78, that's 4. Now the difference we have here is 4. Look here, now the price is of 4, so we've dropped 4 rows out of the data set. So I'm done with the cleaning now. I guess we're done with the cleaning of data. Now let me just we are done with the cleaning of data. Let me just run that again. Data, okay. I've run it before. Okay, let me just check the types. Okay. Now, see what we have here. You have price. What is price? Price should be either integer or float, not an object. Now, let me show you how you can convert from object to float. Now, for example, we have this one here, ball. Now, let me show you the type of data which ball is. Data UI. You see, it's actually what? These are numbers. So this is supposed to be what? It's supposed to be integer or float, but it's written here as object. So now let's convert that to what? To float. So data dot ball. So we write. So we're going to write it again. Since you are saving it, we are overwriting what you have there before. So data dot ball, data ball equal to now data ball. We could have changed the name for this, but there is no reason for changing it. We just want to overwrite what is the existing name. Data dot as type float. So if I run this now again, I think no. If I run this again, I believe that this ball should change to float 64. So now you can see now I float 64 here, and before we have what an object here. So that's how you can actually convert. So you can just do the rest. Now that you are done with the cleanup data set, what you want to do next is to save our CSV file or our data sets. So let's write a syntax for that. Data to underscore CSV into bracket part. We are saving it. Let me go and choose the first part that we used before. Slash user tutorial blah blah. Let's copy this. Paste it here. Let me just change that to screen. Now let me run it. Now what I want to do now is you want to look for this and now downloads. Now downloads. Let me see. So you are clean. Now you can see we have the exact data set from our Jupyter notebook right here in our Excel. Now let's go and run some SQL queries. Now let's import our data set. Let's click on local databases, system, databases. Your master, let's left click import wizard. Okay, let's locate our file. Browse. Download. Let's open this. Next. Next. Import data. Now that we've import our data set into our SQL, now let's write a query to pull out some data. File, new query, select all from what? Data set. Okay. Select all from that one. Okay, need to enter server localhost. I guess I was disconnected, that's why I need to log in back. Server username say this is exactly what we imported. Actually, it's actually how many rows? It's just 80 rows. So I just feel like I can actually handle this. I can actually handle this data set because it's quite small. Adding it is 500 rows, then 500,000. Adding is 500,000 rows. I might then say maybe I won't be able to handle all this data set in Excel. So let me just connect my SQL to my Excel. Now let's open up our Excel. Let's create a new one. Now let's come to data, click on data, get external data, database query, yes. From SQL Server, what is the name, the server name? Localhost. User, I see. connect. So here we have database, say master. That's where we have our database. So let's open this. Now you can see this is the exact way I wrote in my SQL. You can adjust it here. You can just change your you can change your query and do whatever you want. Run it first. You can see it's loading. Now we have 78 rows, 80 rows here. How many? Now we have 78 rows here. That's 78 rows here. So it's not really that much. Had it be this old data set is like 500,000 rows, I might just want to write out the queries of what I'll be needing in specific. But as it stands now, it's actually not much. So I just want to pull out every data I have from my SQL database. So because I believe I can actually manage this whole thing in my Excel right here. So I can click on return data. Okay, existing sheet, yes, import it. It's getting data and see what we have here. This is our O data set. And I think you can now be looking at how we can create a dashboard with this data set. See, this column is actually not relevant. So let me just delete this now. So what we have left here is what? So what we have here now? So what we have here is just symbol, normalize the make of the car. Is the car gas or diesel? The aspirin, is it 2-door or it is 4-door? The body type, is it convertible, it is wagon, it is sedan? How many wheels? The front, where is the engine located, the front or the back? The wheelbase, the length, the width. And these are just information of a particular car, and all these components are merged together to give us a particular price. So that means if you want to buy a car that comprises all these components, then the price would be this amount. So the price would be this amount. I believe you get what I'm saying now. So I purposely choose this data set, and the reason being that most times data set that I choose are filtered by date, month, year, but I intentionally chose this data set because it has none of those things. So I want you to have the understanding on how to filter through data set. It's not necessarily you filter through data set by date and time alone. You can filter through data set with any kind of information you have in your hand. For example, you can filter through the make. Okay, if I have an Audi that uses gas, that uses this, how much is it going to cost me? How much is going to be the price? If I have the body to be sedan, okay, it's a sedan or it's an Audi, how much is it going to cost me? Oh, it's a sedan, it's a BMW, how much is it going to be? Okay. So without further ado, let's dive into creating our dashboard.